I am not in my narrowboat today. I'm near the sea and I'm staying in that. And that, I'm calling it Polly. It's a 23-year-old little camper van and it's an auto sleeper symphony. So I'm currently packing all my bags because I'm going to go away for a few days. I'm going to be leaving my lovely little narrowboat and heading off on a slightly different adventure. So as you can see, I'm packing quite light. I've got to make sure that I've got enough jumpers because it's going to be a little bit cold. Yeah, I'm heading back to my parents now because I'm going to pick up my little van and then I'm going to be meeting tomorrow a really good friend of mine, Sandra, who also lives on a narrowboat. Yeah, and she's got the same sense of adventure that I have. She loves going off on little adventures. And what we've said is to make it a little bit more interesting is we're not going to stay in the same place every night. We're going to find loads of little quirky places to stay using an app for your phone. And it's called Park for a Night. It's free. Yeah, so we're going to use that just to make it a little bit more fun. The thing is, both myself and Sandra were women of a certain age. We're both on our own. So we thought, come on, let's have a midlife crisis. Let's go on an adventure. So this will be the first time for me experiencing a little bit of van life because usually on my holidays I'm either backpacking around Thailand staying in a little hut or I'm camping in a field in Wales. And some of you will already know Sandra because I did a little video on her quite a while ago now because she had a narrowboat craned out and she's currently cruising the Irish waterways. But she's took a ferry and she's over here this week in her van. So as you can see, both our vans are virtually identical. Yeah, they're both quite old, but they're just a potential to take you on so many more adventures. So over the next few days, we're going to be using the Park for a Night app, finding lovely little locations like this one, and just having a great old time. What can go wrong? Apart from a bit of dogging or something. What's this place called?
It's very near a little village called Pilling, so it's just on the coast, so we can see the sea, although it's a long, long way away. And it's Heidi's first night of wild camping, so van virgin for Heidi tonight. So
yeah, they know I'm a sweet innocent virgin anyway, don't you guys? So let me give you the grand old tour. So as I was saying outside, she's 23, she's an auto sleeper symphony. Sandra's is virtually identical apart from different coloured upholstery and hers is a symbol. So even though the van's 23 years old, she's in quite good nick. She's got a 12-volt fridge, which is also gas. Underneath here there is a sink and a little drainer. And then to the left is my cooker. There's 4 rings there, a grill and an oven. Yeah, loads of overhead storage. And then in here is a little shower, a cassette toilet and a pull down sink. So she just has everything that you need. So Sandra came round and we were going to have a drink. Get it open.
I can't get the top off. I can't do it.
So Sandra went in search of somebody with a nice tight grip.
We both tried, we can't get it open.
Fantastic, she's got them to open it. How brilliant's that? Obviously we'd never ever have a drink, either of us, if we're driving, but because we're parked here we're going to have a couple now. We'll be in bed by bloody 8 o'clock, us pair, we're all farts. But yeah, we wouldn't risk drink driving, so don't panic everyone. Come on girl, let's get that in. Let the party begin. Woo. So I've put in here in the oven, not very good cook at all. Look at that. This is the first meal in my camper van. So cheers, Sandra.
Cheers.
You can't beat a ready meal. Sandra's just left. It's 11:30 at night. I've got the kettle on and then I'm going to wash some dishes before I set my little bed up. But I love it in here. I've got the diesel heater going at the moment and it's really, really lovely. Nice and warm. But I can wee faster than that tap. Good morning everyone, the kettle's on, the diesel heating's on because it's quite cold out there. It's been raining non-stop since last night. I've had a quick shower, so I'm just waiting for Sandra now to get here and we're going to have bacon butties. We've finished breakfast, washed up, we're now on our way. We're going to somewhere different now. We're going to have a little bit of an adventure first. What a fantastic little location that was though, on the Park for a Night app. Yeah, I love that app, it's bloody brilliant. It's raining, it's bloody awful. Yeah, so what do you do when it's raining? I'll show you. It's a bloody horrible day when we come to Oud Nell's Tavern, it's called. Oud Nell's Tavern. Can't even say it, and I've never even had a drink. But it's right on the canal, the Lancaster Canal, and they've got mooring rings here, so you can actually moor right outside this place. It's dead quirky, it's got a thatched roof and everything. There's the moorings. So it's pretty much everywhere else on the canal system, 14 days in winter and 2 days the rest of the time. See, this is the thing, you see, both me and Sandra live on boats, and we can't get the canals out of our blood, can we?
No.
Everywhere we go, there's got to be
Drawn to them.
Drawn to the canals. It's absolutely fantastic. It's like an old-time little village. Isn't it? Wow. So you can stay in these?
You can come here. I've stayed in these.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. Come, and these are just like rooms you can have for a few night, long weekend away. It's an amazing place.
Yeah. Basically, this place, it's a pub and a cafe and then accommodation. But what they've done to it to make it look all oldie-worldy and quirky, it's just amazing. And you can moor right outside. How awesome's that, eh? Wow. I love it. So after exploring this quirky location, we headed inside the pub for a coffee.
What it is this place used to be a farm. There was a vicar nearby and his vicarage burnt down, so he lived on this farm. And it was 2 years, so it's 1798, 2 years before the Lancaster Canal was opened. And he kept pigs on the farm, and gradually it just expanded. They started adding a pub and a restaurant and things, but interestingly they found some scorched bags of barley in that the vicar did, and they made this drink out of it called porter. It had a little bit of a burnt chocolate taste, and still to today they brew that here. So
we couldn't try it though because we're driving.
Yeah.
So fueled up on coffee, we headed back to our vans and then went off to play a quick game of crazy golf before setting off to find our park up for the night. So back on the move now. It absolutely whooped Sandra's arse at crazy golf. Well, 5 points. It's still won. On our way now to our next park up, and my priorities today now is I need some diesel for my diesel heater and the van. I also need to get some gas, and it's those refillable gas things, and I've never used it before, so that's going to be exciting. Woo! So I used an app on my phone called mylpg.eu, and it shows you the nearest locations to be able to fill your gas. Now I've never done this before, but it was sort of quite straightforward. You just undo the cap, put the nozzle in, turn it, press and hold the button, and then once it's full up it'll just stop. And it stopped on 5.44 litres. But it's an absolute nightmare when you withdraw your nozzle because it just squirts everywhere. So we've filled all the gas up now. Wow, it was only £4.89 to fill a whole 6 litre gas thing, so that was fantastic. Loads cheaper than I thought. So I'm full of diesel heater's full, gas is full. Yeah, ready now to head to the next park up. So we've just parked there on the road. You can overnight there, and then we've got the sea just ahead of us and this big grassy area here for the dogs to play on. So that's fantastic. So I'm going to take you now to the sea. So after parking up, we've just walked down to the pier. I don't know if this sound will turn out because it's very, very windy. It's bloody cold, isn't it?
It is.
So I'm going to go back now and get my diesel eater on and then try and get some fish and chips from somewhere. But our vans are parked right over there. So we've got fish and chips from the chippy and we can see the sea in the distance just out the window. What have you got to eat, Sandra?
I got pine chips, but I want you to tell people about your drink, Heidi. What are you drinking?
I actually got myself some Desperados and I haven't got a bottle opener. So we spent the night here in Morecambe. The sea's just there and there is a road here. It wasn't too noisy. There was a bit of traffic noise going across at night, but when I got tucked up in my little bed there, I was happy as Larry, slept like a log. Yeah, we're going to be moving on very shortly. We haven't exactly decided where we're going to stay yet. We've been studying the Park for a Night app all morning and we're looking for either a pub, a canal or both. We've just made a little stop here at CAMPER railway station. We've got a little cafe. We were ready for a coffee, so we're stopping here for that. I want to show you some unique things about this place because it's quite oldie-worldy. All around the station there's old battered suitcases, signs, little rooms that you can go in. It's like a museum. It really is like taking a step back in time. So we've just had a lovely coffee in the little cafe there. So what do you know about this place, Sandra?
So we're at CAMPER railway station, which has a heritage centre, and its claim to fame is that parts of the Brief Encounter film were filmed here, which, because Heidi, being a Philistine, has never even heard of the Brief Encounter film. But it was filmed here because bits of it were because in London they were in blackout, so they had no lights. So, yeah, they filmed lots of bits here, and it's about the guy and girl who had the affair, had the brief encounter. So what a nice little place that was to stop for a coffee. CAMPER station, it's got a little heritage centre there and get a coffee, but it started raining now. Oh, and Sandra's off, so better get cracking. Oh, shit. Off we go. She's a clunky old thing, this. It really is. So we always have to come to a canal, me and Sandra, and we're near this today, and there's a motorway just there. But this was the end of the Lancaster Canal, completely the end. This is disused, this current bit of canal now, it's the disused part of it. But I'm going to show you, there's still some locks here. And if this canal had continued, it would take you all the way to the Lake District. Unfortunately, there's a motorway there now and there's a big road up there, so I don't know how they would do it. But yeah, I just wanted to show you, this is a non-navigable section, because this would be fantastic if we could go the Lake District, wouldn't it? So if you do cruise the Lancaster, which is over the Ribble Link, you have 40 miles of no locks, but it ends the other side of that mound. Yeah, that's the furthest reach you can go. So I'm stood now at a disused lock, and over 200 years ago this would have been really busy with boats. But alas, not anymore. But wouldn't it be fantastic if they could link the Lancaster, then onwards to the Lake District at Kendal, and then even onwards towards Scotland? It would just be fantastic, but unfortunately the network stops. But yeah, I just really wanted to come and see this whilst I was here, because we were in the area anyway. But yeah, the disused part of the Lancaster Canal. Oh
Oh guys, the bloody British weather. It's been peeing down all day. Yeah, but it was so great then to see the end of the Lancaster navigation. You know, it would just be ace if they did open that up. But I don't think there's a way around it because there's the motorway bridge there now and all the motorway. So I don't know if they'll ever restore it. But it would be fantastic, you know, being able to get to the Lake District and to Scotland. Oh, just brilliant. But like with everything, the Canal River Trust have only got so much money, and I think their biggest thing at the moment is maintenance, yeah, of the current network. Right, so we are off now to our park up for the night, and I think tonight we're going to go to a pub. Wow. It's wetter than a mermaid's foof today. Oh, bloody British weather. It's awful. It doesn't stop us adventuring though, but it is rather moist. We've just arrived at this park up here. It's again on the Park for a Night app, and it's a pub, but the car park's quite remote. It's out the way. It's a remote little village, to be honest, and there's little camper van bays, so we've parked in one of these. The pub opens at 4:30, so it's free as long as you go in and have a meal and stuff, which we will be. We've not done a pub park up yet. It's my first one, so I'm quite excited. There's a field behind with sheep in, so yeah, so it's lovely. It's quite quiet, which is great, just how we want it. What I'll do is all these Park for a Night locations we've stayed at whilst we've been on this trip in this area, I'll put them in the description. So yeah, so those that have got little camper vans or like to travel, you'll be able to see where they are. But this looks good. I'm happy at a pub. But it's not open yet, so let's have a brew. So, cheers everyone. Wow, I just want to say I'm absolutely loving my van. It's just fantastic. For an old girl, she's just been brilliant. She's far exceeded my expectations. You know, I've got my cooker, I can make a brew when I want, I can go for a wee. It's brilliant. And it's been so good as well travelling with Sandra, a fellow solo female. And she's such an inspirational woman. She's cruised most of the UK network and then took a narrowboat over to Ireland. She's currently travelling around the Irish waterways. She bought her little van about 4 months before I got this old banger. She just goes everywhere, and I just love the fact that she do that. Obviously she still works, she has to work remotely, but yeah, she's living the dream. And having this little van just opens up a lot more for me as well, because sometimes I want to travel off the waterways and see what's inland, and I'm able to do that now. So I'm quite excited by it. I'm loving the freedom. Good morning. So before we set off today, I'm just going to check the oil and water on my old girl. And also, I know you're dying to know, but the food last night in that pub was absolutely gorgeous. I am struggling now. We're on day 4 in the camper vans, and I'm struggling for power. Yeah, so one of the things that I am going to save for now is to upgrade the leisure battery on this. It's only got a tiny little leisure battery, just the one, and there's no solar panel. So I know that if I'm coming away long term, I need to find alternative solutions. But that's something to plan for in the future. So we've come to Kirkby Longsdale, to a place called Devil's Bridge, which goes over the River Lune. And this bridge is a medieval bridge built around the 1400s. Yeah, really old, older than Sandra. But Sandra's going to tell us a little bit of a story now about why it's called Devil's Bridge.
So there's a myth for Devil's Bridge, and this is that an old lady, before the bridge was built, lost her cows. They went across to the other side of the river, and then the river rose and she couldn't get them back. The devil appeared and offered to build her a bridge, and in payment for that, the first soul across the bridge would be his. So the lady agreed, the bridge was built, and the devil turned to collect his toll, and the lady pulled a bun out of her pocket and rolled it across the bridge, and her little dog ran across. But the devil was so incensed by that, he just jumped off the bridge, so the doggy was saved, so it does have a happy ending. And I assume the cows got back too.
And Sandra's all excited because she's just seen some firemen, aren't you, Sandra?
Yeah, they're launching boats on the river, I think a training exercise, so I'm waiting for them to come down the river.
Filthy. This river's flowing quite fast today. We've had quite a lot of rain. That's one thing about this camping trip. We've had an awful lot of rain. Have you had a good time, Daiquiri? Look at the state of you. Hey, look at the state of you. You've had a good time, haven't you? And this fantastic location is also on the Park for a Night app. Yes, you can stay here overnight in your little vans, eh? They've found some brilliant little locations on that app. It's fantastic and it's all free, even the app itself. So we then headed into the village of Kirkby Longsdale for an explore. This was our last little adventure together before we're heading back to our own boats. So guys, how cool is that? I just went into that little camping shop then to buy some supplies for my van. Yeah, and the guy in there recognised me and watches me videos. Yeah, I felt quite humbled. Yeah, in this tiny little place here, somebody watches my little YouTube videos. So great to meet you, Roger. So that's it, me and Sandra are parting ways now. She's going to head to actually the Isle of Man. And I'm going back to my mum and dad's, drop this van off. And then I'll be back to the boat. Yeah, so I've had a fantastic trip. Absolutely loved it in her maiden voyage. Yeah, Polly's maiden journey. Oh, bloody loved it. So I'm back on the boat now and had an absolutely fantastic time exploring part of Lancashire and a little bit of Yorkshire. Yeah, we wanted to try and stay quite local so we weren't using so much diesel. And there's so much to explore in those areas. It's just amazing. So I got this the other day from Captain Glenn. It's quite hard to get hold of. It's Black Cherry Kraken. So let me take you in the rear entrance. So I'm going to read out now today's little ditty that somebody sent me in last week. So you all sitting comfortably, you've got yourselves a drink. Cheers. Woohoo. Tasting the cherry. Just a big shout out as well to this week's pirate crew. So if you are wanting to send me a little ditty, by the way, please make sure you leave it in the YouTube comments. Don't email it, don't Instagram it or anything like that, because I don't check there very often, but I always check my YouTube comments at least once a day. Well, I try to. Anyway, this one's from David T, and it goes a little something like this. Was looking for something to watch bright and cheery, not interested in dull or dreary. Was on a day, I think it was Friday, I stumbled across a wench called Heidi. Politically correct, I'm sure she is not, but she shows she is happy with her lot. Between wetting her lips and warming her nips, she has time to post and show us her trips. Bloody brilliant. Oh, so thank you very much, David. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm going to leave the video there. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it a like. It really helps. Subscribe down below, absolutely free. But before I go, just a massive shout out to my patrons who help me every week with everything. Yeah, so that's it, guys. So please take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next Thursday.